Hey everybody, today what we're going to be looking at is parallel and perpendicular lines. As a quick reminder, parallel lines are two lines that have the same exact slope, but the difference is that they're going to have a different y-intercept. So one might be a little higher or lower than the other. So these two lines are parallel lines. And perpendicular lines are two lines that when they cross, they form a 90-degree angle. So these two lines, how I write them, are perpendicular because they form a 90-degree angle. So as a reminder, just in case we forgot, the difference is, I just showed you what they look like graphically, so we don't need to look at that. Parallel lines are going to have the same slope, but different y-intercept. And perpendicular, they're going to have opposite slopes. So what do I mean by opposite? If I have a fraction like 2/3, the perpendicular slope will be -3/2. So you flip the fraction, flip the sign. So if I have positive 1/3, the perpendicular slope would be -3/1. So those are the examples. And the y-intercept doesn't matter on a perpendicular slope. So let's go ahead and look at these. It says write an equation and slope-intercept line that is parallel. So remember, on all parallel lines, we're going to have same slope. So the first thing what we're always going to do, your first rule on all these, is whatever equation they give you, find the slope, and we do that by putting it into slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. We're trying to get y all by itself so we can figure out what the slope is. So my first step here is I'm going to minus 9x. So this is 3y is equal to -9x plus 8. Now my next step is I need to figure out what the slope is, and I do that by dividing each and every term by 3. This would give me y equals -3x plus 8/3. So now this is my original line, y equals -3x. What I need to do now is find a parallel line, so one that is parallel. And remember, parallel lines have the same slope, so this is the value that I care about. So in my parallel line, I have a slope of a slope of -3, and it is going to go through the point of -1, -4. That's why it gives me this point here. And remember, this is my x, this is my y. So in red, this represents everything of my parallel line. So I'm going to have the equation y equals mx plus b, and now I'm just going to plug in these values. I'm going to have -4 is equal to my slope, which is -3, and contains the point of -1 plus b. And it's going to be -4 is equal to 3 plus b. I minus 3 on both sides to get -7 is equal to b. Therefore, my parallel line is y equals -3x minus 7. So, I want you guys to realize that this equation right here, they have the same slope as -3, but the difference is the y-intercept. This is 8/3, this is -7. So let's go ahead and look at another one. On this one, it's already written in the form. Alright, so now let's go ahead and look at this one. It is in y equals mx plus b form, and it goes through the point of 4, -2. Now this one's great because I'm trying to find the parallel line, and all I need from the parallel line is the slope, and I already have it. So on my new line, which is going to be the one parallel to this one, it's going to have a slope of -3/4, and it's going to contain the point of 4, -2. So I already have my m value, I have my x value and the y value, so I'm going to plug these into slope-intercept form to find the b value. So this is going to look like -2 is equal to -3/4 times 4 plus b. These 4's cancel, and I'm left with -2 is equal to -3 plus b. I'm going to add 3 to both sides, and that will give me 1 is equal to b. So then, if this is my first line, a parallel line will be y equals negative 3 over 4x plus 1. This point will be on this line. The blue line will be parallel to the equation given to me because they have the same slope but different y-intercept. Now they're going to also give you sentences like this where we're going to have to figure it out. It says, I want you to create a line that's parallel to this one but passes through this point. So I have y minus 3 is equal to 1/5 parentheses x plus 3. Now I don't need to solve everything. All I need to do is get the x's on one side because that is going to be my slope. So if I were to distribute this, I would have y minus 3 is equal to 1/5 x plus 3 over 5. You could add 3 on both sides, but I don't need to because the only thing that matters about my original line is the slope. Because my new line is going to be parallel, and the only thing that these have in common is their slopes are the same. So now I have my slope. I have negative 5, I have 10. Negative 5 is x, my 10 is a y. I'm going to plug all that into y equals mx plus b. And this will look like 10 is equal to positive 1/5 times negative 5 plus b. This will give me 10 equals negative 5 over 5 plus b, which is 10 equals negative 1 plus b, which means my parallel line will have a y-intercept of 11. So my new equation will be y equals 1/5 x plus 11. If I got y all by itself on the top one, I'll rewrite this in blue. My original line would look like y equals 1/5 x plus 3 3/5. I want you to know your answer is the red one, but I want you to notice that how these two compare. They have the same slope but different y-intercept. Alright, so now what we're going to do is focus on perpendicular lines. We're going to do the same thing where we're going to get every equation in y equals mx plus b form so we can look at the slope and get the opposite slope. Remember, perpendicular lines have opposite slopes. So for instance, I have this original equation 4x plus 3y equals negative 6. I need to get x all by itself. So I need to get this in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to minus 4x on both sides to get 3y equals negative 4x minus 6. I'm then going to divide each and every term by 3 to get y is equal to negative 4 over 3x minus 2. Now similar, the only thing that I care about is this part of which is the slope. Now my perpendicular line is going to have the opposite. So since it's negative 4/3, the opposite of it, it's negative, it'll be positive, and then I flip the fraction to have 3/4. So instead of a negative slope, I now have a positive slope. Instead of being 4 over 3, it's positive 3 over 4. This is the slope of my new equation. So now I'm going to use y equals mx plus b. I'm going to use the point 2, 1. This is x, this is y, and I'm already given my slope, which is 3 over 4. So the only thing I need to figure out now is my b value. So if I plug all these in, I will have 1 equals 3 over 4, and then my x value is 2, plus b. This will be 1 equals 6 over 4 plus b. That reduces to 1 over 3 over 2 plus b. I just reduce the numerator and the denominator by 2. I'm going to subtract 3/2 on both sides. And that will give me a b value of negative 1/2. So now that I have my b value, and I have my slope, I can write the equation. I'll write it right here in the middle in purple. My perpendicular line is, actually I'll write it right under here, y equals 3 over 4x minus 1/2. And it doesn't matter about the b values are different. What matters is that the slopes are opposite of each other. So this is negative 4/3, this is positive 3/4. So let's go and look at this one now. Same idea, I need to get y all by itself. So this is my first line. This is x minus 9y equals 4. I'm going to start by minusing x on both sides to get negative 9y is equal to negative x plus 4. I'm going to divide each and every term by negative 9 to get y equals a negative divided by a negative is a positive 1 over 9x minus 4/9. As a quick reminder, the only thing that matters here is this 1 over 9, because I need to flip the sign and flip the fraction, which means if this is a positive 1/9, a perpendicular line, which I'll write in red, will be negative 9. So this is my m value for my perpendicular slope. So my perpendicular equation, and I'm going to use the equation, the point 3, 1. This is my x, this is my y, and I'm going to plug all this into y equals mx plus b to find my b value. So this would look like then 1 is equal to negative 3. I apologize, let me go back one. Negative 9 times negative 3 plus b. This would give me 1 equals negative 27 plus b. And I made another mistake. It would be positive because a negative times a negative is a positive. I would then minus 27 to get negative 26 is equal to b. Therefore, I have my b value. I have my perpendicular slope. So therefore, the equation would be y is equal to negative 9x minus 26. The key part of a perpendicular slope is that the signs are changed. So this was a positive 1/9. This is a negative. This was 1/9, and this is 9 over 1. So you flip the sign, flip the fraction. So it says y minus 8 is equal to 3/4 x minus 2, and I want you to come up with a perpendicular line that passes through this point. So similar with all of them, I need this to get into y equals mx plus b form. So this would be y minus 8 is equal to, I will distribute this to get 3 over 4x minus 3 times 4 times a 2 over 1 would be 6 over 4, which reduces to 3 over 2. So I'm going to have minus 3 over 2. And I could add 8 on both sides, and I'll do that just so we can compare them at the end. But really, the only thing that matters is that 3/4. So it'll be 3 over 4x is equal to 6 1/2. So positive 6 1/2. And I just got that by adding 3/2 plus 8. So as I just said, the thing that matters the most is the slope, which is right here. Because a perpendicular slope of 3/4 would be negative 4 over 3. Because I flipped the fraction and I changed the positive to a negative. So similar, I have my m value of a perpendicular slope. I'm going to have, I have a point of negative 12, 7. So this is my m, this is my x, this is my y. I will plug all these into the equation of y equals mx plus b. This will look, my new equation is 7 is equal to negative 4 over 3 times 12 plus b. Now I just need to solve for b. So 12 divided by 3, I'm choosing to divide first. 12 divided by 3 is 4. And 4 times 4 is negative 16. So then I'm going to add 16 on both sides. And that will give me 23 is equal to b. So now that I have my m value of a perpendicular slope and my y-intercept, I can go ahead and write my equation. It is y equals negative 4 over 3 x plus 23. And as a reminder, I just want you to focus on the slopes, that they are opposite of each other. So flip the fraction, flip the sign. Alright, that's all we have today. So if you have any more questions, please feel free to email me or your teacher. And if not, have a great day.